Hello, Internet. Well, it's easy to see why consumers are so confused about network neutrality. The press is not doing a very good job of keeping them informed without screwing up the wording. If you look at what's happened recently with the FCC and Comcast, now the FCC was recently told by a U.S. District Court that it did not have the jurisdiction to tell Comcast how to manage the internet traffic on its network. Okay, fine. But listen to how this gets played out in the press. Here's an article that says, Comcast FCC win threatens net neutrality. That's the headline. Well, it didn't threaten net neutrality at all. It simply, the court didn't even comment on net neutrality. All the court said was that the FCC doesn't have the jurisdiction to tell Comcast exactly how to manage its internet network. And that's an important point. We need to establish what authority the FCC has and what authority it doesn't have before it goes around and tries to get everyone to agree on some uniform version of net neutrality. Why is that important? Well, everybody seems to associate net neutrality with Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, the really big service providers. But the thing that network neutrality could kill if it's enacted the wrong way is all of the 1,200 and some odd smaller telcos and other ISPs that are in the United States. If net neutrality is not dealt with the right way and in a way that allows all of these companies to continue to make a profit, and a good profit, off of selling broadband internet service, then it's simply going to put a lot of these companies out of business. That's going to lead to less competition for the broadband access market, and that's going to be even a bigger win for Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, and these giant service providers. So we really have to go slow here. We really have to think about what we're doing. And headlines like this don't help at all. Another ridiculous inaccuracy in this article says, the ruling would appear to set a precedent that allows internet service providers to control broadband service as they see fit. Well, they already control broadband service as they see fit. The ruling had nothing to do with that. Operators of broadband-heavy sites may now have to pay more if they want to deliver content at high speeds. Who is this person? Operators of broadband-heavy sites always pay more when they deliver content at higher speeds. Ask Apple sometime what its bandwidth bill must be. I mean, every time you want to serve up content at higher and higher speeds, you're going to have to buy more bandwidth. That's just the fact of life. Ask Adam Carolla. He has a free podcast that he does every single day. It's one of the more popular podcasts on iTunes. And he has said on the record he pays upwards of $10,000 to $15,000 a month just for bandwidth. That had nothing to do with this ruling. Another paragraph in here that's just mystifying is that this reporter says that the ruling may free up internet service providers to charge more for broadband speed or slow or block access to certain sites. Well, this doesn't free up internet service providers to do any such thing. All it simply did was keep the FCC in a little bit of a box and say, listen, if you're going to apply network neutrality rules, let's do it in an intelligent way. Again, the courts didn't comment on network neutrality one way or the other. This ruling doesn't free up the internet service providers to do anything except look at how they're managing their network. The internet service providers have to make sure they're not pissing off consumers, okay? Because if consumers leave, they don't have a business. So they're not going to go and start blocking access to sites and slowing access to sites willy-nilly, as this reporter would suggest. What they are going to do is effectively manage the traffic on their network. And that means they're going to have to think about things like bandwidth caps and intelligent policy decisions that help them reach a point with the consumer, especially the really big users of bandwidth, that says, okay, we want you to keep using our network, but we only want you to go so far before you have to pay us more money. That's just good business. That's not anything to do with violating net neutrality. And this reporter has it all wrong. The publication that put this out, by the way, this is unbelievable, comes from a very widely read IT publication that delivers information on a weekly basis. So, I mean, a lot of people are getting bad information about network neutrality. I hope some of what I've said has helped. Go to lightreading.com. We've covered this issue as well. And I would love to debate you on anything you might have to say about network neutrality in the boards below. Thanks a lot. You got anything to add to that? All right then.